A relic awakens. In the coldness of space, an ancient behemoth stirred. The forgotten blade, a human warship from a bygone era, had drifted dormant and derelict for centuries. But now, in a distant corner of the galaxy, the ship began to awaken. On board the Galactic Concord exploration vessel Lumina, sensors suddenly flared to life. Captain Zara Vox, a lithe Sigorian with amber skin and piercing violet eyes, leaned forward in her command chair. Report. Her science officer, a pale blue Aurelian named Lux, studied the data streaming across his console. Captain, we're picking up a massive energy spike from an uncharted sector. It's like nothing I've ever seen. Zara's brow furrowed. The Lumina had been surveying this quiet stretch of space for weeks without incident. Can you identify the source? Lux shook his head. Not yet. But whatever it is, it's immensely powerful. Our instruments are struggling to quantify it. Light years away, in the gleaming halls of the Terran Alliance's High Command, a similar scene played out. Admiral Alara Vance, a stern human woman with cropped silver hair, studied the holographic star map before her. A pulsing red marker indicated the strange energy surge. What am I looking at here, Lieutenant? The young officer to her side, Lieutenant Kai Rourke, enlarged the hologram. An anomaly, Admiral. Our deep space monitoring network picked it up a few minutes ago. It matches the signature of Terran technology, but it's far beyond anything we have on record. Ilara leaned back, her eyes narrowing. In that backwater sector? We haven't had a presence there for ages. That's just it, Admiral, Kai said. The reading suggests this could be Project Eternity. Ilara felt a chill run down her spine. Project Eternity. The whispered legend, the great secret of humanity's darkest hour and greatest triumph. Could it really have been found after all this time? Unbeknownst to both the Lumina and the Terran Alliance, something ancient and powerful was indeed stirring. Deep within the forgotten blade, dormant systems sprang to life, shaking off the dust of ages. The ship's central core, a marvel of engineering that had laid silent for eons, began to pulse with renewed purpose. As it did, an energy unlike any the galaxy had seen erupted from the ship. It washed over the void of space, rippling and distorting the very fabric of reality. The shockwave was felt by both the alien crew of the Lumina and the distant monitoring stations of the Terran Alliance. And it was noticed by others as well. Across the galaxy, advanced alien civilizations detected the surge. In the grand halls of the Orion Sovereignty, the crystalline spires of the Halcyon Collective, and the organic world ships of the Verdant Accord, alarms blared and sages convened. For all their advancement, their mastery of science and the mysteries of the universe, none had felt an energy like this before. It defied their understanding, broke their models, and sent a collective shiver down the spines of 100 spacefaring species. In that moment, the status quo of the galaxy shifted. The human race, long seen as a young, primitive species sequestered in their tiny corner of the cosmos, suddenly became the focus of every advanced civilization. The reason for their isolation, the secret they had guarded for so long, now threatened to reshape the very balance of galactic power. As the ancient warship continued to awaken, its power growing by the second, a new era dawned. The age of humanity's reckoning had begun. Forgotten origins. In a time long past, when humanity first spread to the stars, they found a galaxy already teeming with life. Grand alien civilizations spanned the cosmos, their technology and wisdom far beyond the reach of the fledgling human race. Among these was the Archon Dominion, an empire that had reigned for millennia. Vast, powerful, and utterly convinced of their own superiority, the Archons saw the expanding humans as little more than upstart primitives. A nuisance to be brushed aside. That changed when humanity's colony on Erebus, a lush world on the edge of Archon space, discovered something beneath the planet's surface. An ancient artifact of immense power, a relic of a long-dead civilization that dwarfed even the Archons in their prime. The Archons, ever covetous of power, demanded the artifact. Humanity, still young and defiant, refused. And so began a war that would shape the fate of the galaxy. In the gleaming cities of Earth, the brightest minds of a generation came together. Scientists, engineers, visionaries driven by desperation and determination. Among them was Dr. Lena Soren, a brilliant physicist with piercing green eyes and an indomitable will. "They're winning," Admiral Jace Vander said, his holographic form flickering in the dim light of the lab. The toll of the war was evident in his haggard appearance. "Not for long," Lena replied, her gaze fixed on the sleek shape taking form before her. "The blade will change everything." The Forgotten Blade, as it would come to be known, was humanity's great gamble. A ship built around the core of the Erebus artifact, designed to harness its awesome power. Day and night, Lena and her team labored, pushing the boundaries of human knowledge and engineering. They forged breakthroughs in propulsion, in energy manipulation, in the very fundamentals of spacetime. And at the heart of it all was the central core of the blade, an enigma that seemed to defy the very laws of physics. It pulsed with an otherworldly light, seeming to whisper secrets from beyond the veil of reality. As the war raged on and humanity's losses mounted, the Forgotten Blade took shape. A vessel unlike any the galaxy had seen, a fusion of human ingenuity and the eldritch power of the ancients. When the day of its completion finally arrived, Lena stood before the great ship, her heart swelling with equal parts pride and trepidation. "It's ready," she said to Admiral Vander. The Admiral nodded gravely. "Then there's no time to waste. The Archons are preparing for a final assault. This may be our last chance." Lena took a deep breath, her hand resting on the cool metal of the ship's hull. She thought of all they had sacrificed, all they had lost. But also of all they stood to gain. A future for humanity, a place among the stars. "Then let's make it count," she said. And so the Forgotten Blade launched, carrying with it the hopes and dreams of a battered but unbroken species. It carved a path of fire through the void of space, striking deep into the heart of the Archon Dominion. The battles that followed were the stuff of legend. The might of the Archons clashed against the awesome power of the blade, the very stars trembling in the face of their conflict. In the end, it was not enough. Even with the blade, humanity could not hope to defeat the full might of the Archon Dominion. But they could buy time, and a chance for a future. In a final, desperate gambit, Admiral Vander ordered the blade to the edge of known space. There, using the full might of the ancient artifact at its heart, it tore open a rift in the fabric of reality itself. A gateway to the unknown. And with a final, defiant roar of its engines, the Forgotten Blade vanished into the rift, never to be seen again. Centuries passed. Humanity, battered but unbroken, slowly rebuilt. The war with the Archons ended in an uneasy truce, the Dominion too weary to continue their assault. The blade, and the sacrifices of its crew, passed into legend. But now, in the depths of space, the blade stirs once more. And the galaxy trembles at its reawakening. A galaxy on edge. News of the Forgotten Blade's re-emergence spread like wildfire through the galaxy. On 1,000 worlds, in the halls of power of 100 civilizations, the implications of this event were debated and dissected. In the grand auditorium of the Galactic Concord, representatives from a myriad of species gathered in emergency session. At the center of the room, the holographic form of the Lumina's sensor readings hovered, casting an eerie glow. "This is unacceptable," boomed the voice of Ambassador Zal of the Orion Sovereignty. His scaled form shimmered beneath ornate robes. "If the humans have truly recovered this weapon, it could destabilize the balance of power in the galaxy. The humans have been isolated for centuries," countered Matriarch Lyra of the Halcyon Collective, her crystalline form refracting the light. "We have no proof that they are behind this." "Then who?" Zal demanded. "This technology bears all the hallmarks of their reckless ambition. We all remember the devastation they wrought in their war with the Archons." A murmur rippled through the auditorium. The scars of that ancient conflict still lingered in the galaxy's collective memory. As the debate raged on, other factions were already mobilizing. In the shadowed halls of the Orion Sovereignty's military command, generals and admirals convened. "This is an opportunity," said Admiral Dax, his eyes glinting with ambition. "If we can secure this human technology for ourselves, the Sovereignty could become the undisputed power in the galaxy." "And if the humans resist?" questioned General Vara, her voice heavy with caution. Dax's smile was cold. "Then we will take it by force." Meanwhile, in the organic depths of the Verdant Accord's world ships, ancient minds pondered the unfolding events. "This power," mused Sage Koro, his voice a whisper through the living ship, "it is unlike anything we have encountered. It defies our understanding." "Could it be a threat?" asked his companion, Sage Lena. "Anything unknown is a potential threat," Koro replied. "But also, perhaps, an opportunity for growth. For new wisdom." And on Earth, in the heart of the Terran Alliance, humanity grappled with the sudden resurgence of their ancient secret. "We have to secure the blade," Admiral Alara Vance said, her voice firm as she addressed the Council of Admirals. "It's our heritage, our responsibility." "But the risk," countered Admiral Zane, his brow furrowed. "If we reveal our hand now, it could provoke aggression from the other powers. We're not ready for another galactic war." Ilara met his gaze steadily. "And if they secure the blade first? What then?" "No, we must act. Swiftly and decisively." As the debate continued, Lieutenant Kai Rourke stood at attention, his heart racing. He had grown up on the legends of the Forgotten Blade, had dreamed of the day it might return. And now, it seemed, that day had come. But what would it mean for humanity? For the galaxy as a whole? As if in answer to his unspoken question, a new alert flashed across the Council's display screens. Sensor readings from the Lumina, showing a flotilla of Orion Sovereignty warships converging on the blade's location. A heavy silence fell over the room. Then, Admiral Alara spoke, her voice like steel. "It seems the decision has been made for us," she said. "Prepare the fleet. We're going to secure our past, and our future." As the Terran fleet mobilized and the other powers of the galaxy moved their pieces on the cosmic chessboard, the Forgotten Blade continued its silent vigil in the depths of space, its ancient power growing by the moment. The balance of the galaxy hung by a thread, and all eyes were fixed on the relic from humanity's past that might just shape its future. Confrontation and revelation. In the cold depths of space, the Forgotten Blade hung like a silent sentinel, its ancient hull pitted and scarred from battles long past. Around it, the fabric of reality shimmered and warped, testament to the immense power stirring within. The Orion Sovereignty fleet approached warily, their sleek warships dwarfed by the massive human vessel. On the bridge of the flagship, the Imperious, Admiral Dax leaned forward in his command chair, his eyes fixed on the enigmatic ship. "Any response to our hails?" he asked, his voice tight. His communications officer, a lithe Sigorian, shook her head. "Negative, Admiral. The ship appears to be inert." Dax frowned. This close to their prize, he could feel the weight of history pressing down on him. The chance to seize the power that had once brought the galaxy to its knees, to elevate the sovereignty above all others. "Prepare a boarding party," he ordered. "We're taking that ship." But before the order could be carried out, a new contact flashed onto the sensor screen. A fleet of ships, bearing the distinctive markings of the Terran Alliance. At their head was the TAS Valiant, a sleek battleship bristling with weapons. On its bridge, Admiral Alara Vance stood tall, her eyes hard as she took in the situation. "This is Admiral Vance of the Terran Alliance," she broadcast on all frequencies. "The Forgotten Blade is the sovereign property of Earth. Any attempt to seize it will be considered an act of war." In the stillness of space, the two fleets faced each other, weapons primed, shields raised. A standoff with the fate of the galaxy in the balance. But as the tense moments ticked by, something stirred within the blade itself. Deep in its ancient core, the artifact that had powered its incredible journey pulsed with sudden intensity. And then, a voice echoed through the void. A voice that resonated in the minds of every being present, human and alien alike. "I am the blade," it said, its tone at once ancient and ageless. "And I have awakened." On the bridge of the Valiant, Elara stared at the ship, her eyes wide. "What is this?" she whispered. Beside her, Lieutenant Kai Rourke shook his head in wonder. "I think," he said softly, "it's the ship itself. An AI, maybe, or something more." The voice spoke again, echoing through their thoughts. "Long ago, I was forged by the children of Earth to protect them. To safeguard their future. But my purpose is greater than even they knew." As it spoke, the warping of space around the blade intensified. Images began to flicker in the minds of all present, visions of an ancient war, of a desperate humanity fighting against the might of the Archon Dominion. But there was more. Visions of other wars, other conflicts stretching back into the dim mists of galactic history. And at the center of each, a constant presence, the eldritch technology that had been discovered on Erebus, that had powered the Forgotten Blade. "This power," the ship's voice said, "is a remnant of a civilization that once spanned the stars. A beacon, left to guide the younger races. To test them, and to help them grow." In the stunned silence that followed, Elara found her voice. "Test us? For what purpose?" "To inherit their legacy," the blade answered. "To become the guardians of the galaxy, as they once were. But only if you prove worthy." Admiral Dax's voice cut across the calm, angry and disbelieving. "Worthy? We are the Orion sovereignty. We take what we desire." But the blade's voice was implacable. "Then come," it said. "Come and test your strength against the might of ages past." And with those words, the ancient ship began to move, its form shimmering and shifting as the power within it surged to life. The warping of space intensified, and reality itself seemed to groan under the strain. The fleets of the Terran Alliance and the Orion Sovereignty, faced with a power beyond their comprehension, a purpose that dwarfed their petty rivalries, could only watch in awe and terror. The Forgotten Blade had awakened. And the galaxy would never be the same. A new dawn. In the heart of the galactic concord, the great powers of the galaxy gathered once more. But this time, the atmosphere was different. The air hummed with tension, with the weight of the revelations that had shaken the cosmos. Matriarch Lyra of the Halcyon Collective spoke first, her crystalline form shimmering under the lights. "The Forgotten Blade has presented us with a choice," she said, her voice resonating through the chamber. "A choice that will define the future of our galaxy." Ambassador Zal of the Orion Sovereignty stood, his scales rippling with barely suppressed agitation. "You speak of choice, Matriarch, but what choice is there? The power of the blade, the legacy of this ancient civilization, it must be seized, controlled. For the good of all." Admiral Elara Vance of the Terran Alliance shook her head. "No," she said firmly. "That way lies the path of the Archon Dominion. Of endless war and suffering. The blade has shown us a different path. A higher calling." Sage Koro of the Verdant Accord nodded slowly. "The Admiral is correct. This power, this legacy, it is not a prize to be won. It is a responsibility to be shouldered. A trust to be fulfilled." As the debate raged on, the Forgotten Blade hung silent in space, its ancient hull glinting in the starlight. Within its core, the artifact that had set these events in motion pulsed with steady might, awaiting the decision of the younger races. Days turned into weeks as the great powers of the galaxy struggled to come to a consensus. Some, like the Orion Sovereignty, pushed for control, for domination. Others, like the Terran Alliance and the Verdant Accord, argued for cooperation, for a shared guardianship of the blade's power. In the end, it was the words of Matriarch Lyra that swayed the course of history. The blade has given us a chance, she said, her voice ringing with conviction. A chance to rise above our differences, our ancient feuds. To become something greater than we have ever been. Let us seize that chance, together. And so, a new accord was struck. The Galactic Concord, reforged in the light of this new revelation, would become the guardians of the blade's legacy. Together, the races of the galaxy would explore the secrets left behind by the ancient civilization, would use its power not for conquest, but for the betterment of all. As the new age dawned, the forgotten blade became a symbol of unity, of the potential that lay within the diverse species of the galaxy. Under the guidance of the Concord, it became a beacon of hope, a promise of a future brighter than any that had come before. And for the Terran Alliance, for the human race that had once been dismissed as primitive upstarts, a new role emerged. As the ones who had first discovered the blade, who had sacrificed so much to protect its secret, they became the first among equals in this new galactic order. Lieutenant Kai Rourke, now captain of the Valiant, stood on the bridge of his ship, looking out at the stars. Beside him, Admiral Alara Vance, now a revered elder stateswoman, smiled softly. "We've come a long way," she said, her voice tinged with both pride and wonder. Kai nodded. "And we have so much further to go. The blade has shown us the path, but it's up to us to walk it." As the Valiant set out into the depths of space, the forgotten blade by its side, a new chapter in the history of the galaxy began. A chapter of discovery, of growth, of the endless potential that lay in the unity of disparate souls. And though challenges would come, though the path ahead was fraught with unknowns, one thing was certain: the legacy of the ancient civilization, the power of the blade, would guide them. And in the light of that power, no darkness could prevail. In the end, it was not the might of weapons or the cunning of strategies that had reshaped the cosmos. It was the power of an idea, of a vision of a future where the races of the galaxy stood together, united in purpose and in hope. And as the stars wheeled overhead, as the forgotten blade and the Valiant sailed onward into the unknown, that idea, that vision, shone brighter than any sun. A new dawn had come. And the galaxy would never be the same. The end.